up, gamers? My name is LeunameGames. Welcome back to LeunameGames. Today I'm going to teach you how to play the 2 to 4 player dice placement game Sagrada by Daryl Andrews and Adrian Adamescu and published by Floodgate. In Sagrada, players are all glaciers, and over the course of the game, you're all going to be drafting dice and using tools to place your dice in various patterns to build the most beautiful stained glass window. Let's get to the table and let's see what's in the box. To set up the game, each player is going to be given one of these window frames. And each window frame has a series of squares, which is going to be where you place your dice, as well as a little slot underneath right here, and that's going to be where you place your pattern. Each player is then going to be handed 2 random patterns that are from this deck here, and each of these patterns are double-sided. You can look at these as much as you want, but essentially what you're going to do is you're going to pick one of these patterns and you are going to slide it into the slot in your window frame, and that's going to represent the window that you're trying to build. Now when you look at your patterns, it's important to look at what the number of circles that are down the bottom right corner is. It's different for pretty much every single card in the deck. It's going to represent how many of these favor tokens that you're going to get. And what these favor tokens can do is they're going to allow you to use these tools that are up here. Now the more circles that you have here, the more tokens that you're going to get for the game. But it's also important to know that the more you have, that means the harder it is for your window to be built. There are always going to be 3 tool cards out for the game. These cards are meant to help you build your windows better. However, the tools that you will have every game are going to be different because they are randomly drawn from this deck during setup. There's also going to be 3 public objective cards, and these are going to be the ways that the players are going to earn points. The setup for the public objective cards is the same as the tools. You basically just draw 3 random cards out of this deck, and you'll be able to tell which one is the public objectives because it has this blue die on the back. You're also going to give each player a private objective card, which looks similar to the public ones, but this has a gray die on the back. And what these are is that these have a single color on them, and these basically tell you what color you want to have the highest value in dice at the end of the game. For example, this one means you want to have the highest value of your green dice. Make sure the round track here is placed nearby all the players. Give the dice bag to the player who most recently visited a cathedral, and you are ready to begin. Every round, the player who has the bag is going to draw a certain number of dice from the bag equal to twice the number of players plus 1. So for instance, I have a 2-player game up here, so the player is going to then draw 5 dice because it's 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, and he's going to roll them. Starting with the first player, each player is going to get their turn. When it is your turn, you're allowed to do each of the 2 actions available that you choose. And you can do this in any order that you want. You can take one of the dice from the dice pool and put it on one of these slots on your window. You can also spend favor tokens to use the tools that are up here. Now to use one of these, the first time somebody uses a tool, they have to spend 1 of their favor tokens. You will then use the ability on the tool card. If there is a favor token already on the card that you want, then you have to spend 2 favor tokens in order to use it. Before I go any further, I do want to explain the rules when it comes to placing dice. When you place a die, if it is the first die that you place, you have to place it on a spot that's around the edge of your frame. Once you place your first die down, every die that you play after that has to be adjacent to a previously placed die in some way, whether it is horizontal, vertical, or diagonal. There's also some restrictions to where you can place your dice. White squares like this one have no restriction, so you can place anything there. If there's one with a number like this one, then you can place any colored die in that spot as long as it matches the number. For example, this blue would be perfectly fine here because it's a 5. Just like on the restriction. Spots that have a color on it mean that you can place any numbered die there as long as you match the color. So for example, I wouldn't be able to place this blue in this spot because the spot is reserved for greens. The last rule when it comes to placing dice is that you can never have 2 dice that are the same color or the same value sitting next to each other vertically or horizontally. Now having a die that matches one of those 2 diagonally is allowed. Once each player has completed their first turn, the round will continue going in reverse order, starting with the last player. Starting with the last player, each player will take their second turn, doing the same thing, taking dice, putting them in their window if they're able to, or spending favor tokens to use the tools, or if you really don't want to do anything or can't do anything, you can pass and do nothing. Once the player who has started the round has taken their second turn, the round is over and you proceed to the end round phase. At the end of the round, there's always going to be at least one die left over. All dice that are remaining at the end of the round are going to be placed up here on the round track. These are going to keep track of what round you are in during the game. You will then pass the dice bag over to the next player clockwise. They are the start player, and you will continue to the next round, drawing dice depending on the number of players, rolling them, and taking your actions. At the end of the 10th round, the game is over, and you will determine the final scores. First things first, you're going to need to clear all the dice off of the round track, and you're going to have to flip the round track over. This is the score track that you're going to use to count the final scores. Each player also has a little token that comes with the game with their color. They're going to place it off to the side for now. They're going to use that to keep track of their scores. First, you're going to score each of these public objective cards. And you're going to get points for them, and you can score them multiple times based on if you've completed their condition. For example, this one is that you will get 5 points for each completed row that has no repeating colors in it. For example, in the example I've provided here, there are 2 columns with no repeating colors, so I've earned 10 points for this card. In another example, this one here gives you 6 points for each completed row that does not repeat colors. Well, in the example I provided, I don't have one that didn't repeat, so I would get no points for this card. This one would get me 2 points for every set of 3 and 4 that I have on my frame. For the sake of this example, I have 3 sets of 3 and 4, so I would get 6 points for this card. You're then going to score your private objective cards. The cards that I was talking about earlier that had the one color on it. So how you're going to score these is that you're going to look at all the dice that match the color of your private objective and count them together. For example, my private objective is to have a lot of green, which is 18. So I will get 18 points for my private objective. If you have any favor tokens left over at the end of the game, they're going to be worth 1 point each. You're also going to lose a point for every open space that you have on your window. Count up your points, and whoever has the most points is the winner. In the case of a tie, whoever got the most points from their private objectives is the winner. Still tied? Whoever got the most favor tokens left unspent by the end of the game is the winner. If you're still tied, then the winner is determined by the reverse player order in the final round. And that's everything you need to know in order to play Sagrada. As always, if you have any questions at all, feel free to leave them in the comments below and I will get to them. Thank you as always so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. That means a lot to me. If you like what I do and you want to support me in the future, please feel free to hit subscribe and I will see you all in the next video. But until next time, see you later!